Now and then, a customised belt will appear on WWE, with some wrestlers using it as a means to get over.
What are you doing?
Trying to get over.
With the mentality of if they act like it's amazing, then it'll be amazing. Kind of fake it until you make it sort of thing. But that's not always the case. Then there's wrestlers with a gimmick so over, the company base a belt on their character. Unless you're stone cold and then you can just do what you want. But we'll get to that later. Hey guys, my name is Red Panda, also known as Corky Earsard, and today's video we're going to be ranking WWE's customised world title belts. However, after learning about these belts, I found it hard to just do a tier list or a top 10, as they're all so different. So I thought, what way better to do it than a top trumps list? And now, I'm a genius. I'll be rating them on relevance, prestige, design, impact, and then my own rating. Relevance kind of ticks off a few boxes, whether it's being part of the WWE TV, whether it's a toy, or being part of a game. Any sort of thumbs up from the WWE is relevant really. Prestige, who held it and how long for, if it was defended, how many times it was defended, and who it was defended against. Design, how the belt looks. Impact, what that belt did for the superstar. And then what I think. And so, in chronological order. How do you make a belt for the most egotistical man in the world? Make it out of solid gold? Maybe diamonds? No. Slap his ugly mug on it, of course. During his reign in 1986, Hogan was gifted his own customised WWF Championship belt. However, this belt was very short-lived, as it was only shown 3 times in 1 week before reverting back to the old belt. Gee, I wonder why. The history of this title is mostly rumours and speculations, as to be expected with things around the Hulkster, and this is the reason it had the title the Mystery Belt. The picture is from a match against Paul Orndorff. On the 18th of October 1986, Hogan received the customised belt from Jack Tunney on TV as a gift for his 2nd anniversary as champion. There has been no evidence to support this, however, Tunney gave Hogan a trophy for his 3rd year as champion, so there is some evidence. It was designed by WWF belt maker Reggie Parks. When asked about it, Reggie couldn't recall any of the circumstances surrounding the creation and reason for the belt, other than it was replaced because the Hulkster didn't like how big the main plate was, stating it dug into him when wearing it. He also voiced the same complaint about the larger Undisputed belt decades later. Relevance. With a name like the Mystery Belt, it doesn't really have much relevance to the WWE or its universe. Even most of its hardcore fans have long forgotten about this belt. So I'm going to have to give it 20 out of 100. This was during Hogan's 4-year reign as champion, from January 1984 to February 1988. But he only wore the belt 3 times in a 1-week period, and there's not much evidence to even say it exists. So I'm going to have to give it a 15. Design. Hulk was said to be the face of the company, which he took quite literally.
So when you live by the buck, brother, you'll die by the buck.
The belt itself is actually really nice. It's a proper championship belt. But that face! But it's such a nice belt. The handlebar moustache! 55 out of 100. Impact. Did this belt do anything for the Hulkster? No. All it did was boost his giant ego. But hey look, there's a new mystery in the wrestling world. 10 out of 100. 10, 10, 10, 10. 10. If Hogan was a heel during this reign, then it would have got him so much good heat. But no, he was face. So it just resulted in him looking like a massive pleb. My rating. This was more of a personalised gift than anything. It didn't do anything for him, and he didn't need the belt to boost his status. He's already the most iconic wrestler in the world. What else does he need? 25 out of 100. Probably one of the most recognisable symbolic belts in the history of WWE. This belt in particular led to the customisation of belts being designed for the characters. Little known fact, this belt actually rattles when you shake it. On the 27th of July 1998, on Monday Night Raw, Austin stomped down to the ring to have a confrontation with The Undertaker, where he debuted his personalised title.
And as far as you're concerned, you hit the nail right on the head, son. Are we champions? Hell yeah!
The belt itself was created because when he first won the Eagle belt, it cut him in the stomach, hence why it's oval shaped. The man did this out of his own pocket. And before you go, "Ooh, why did the WWE pay for it? They're so tight." Vince had no idea. When he first brought the belt to Raw, Vince thought, that's a nice belt, but in no way is it going to appear on TV. And in true Austin fashion, he did what he wanted to do anyway, ignoring Vince's pleads. Vince was furious. He demanded that Austin revert back to the new Big Eagle belt, which he reluctantly did, but fans weren't so compliant, and they hassled the WWE to bring it back. Vince eventually backed down and gave the fans what we wanted. Hallelujah! 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 And so it was returned to TV and was the focal point for several storylines, one of which The Rock threw it off a bridge.
Austin, you want your belt? Well, I'll tell you what, here it is, and you take it to hell with you.
Ah, those were the days. The belt was defended 3 times. The Rock during their feud from WrestleMania to Backlash in Your House. The Undertaker, Over the Edge, 99. Mankind, SummerSlam, 1999. The idea for this came from the Road Warriors, which they suggested to him he should have his own belt, as he doesn't follow the company line and he does his own thing. The belt was spammed across all of the WWE games, all of the 2K games, and was even unlocked if you completed WWF WrestleMania 2000. It was a commercial success for merchandise sales, as replicas were made for both adults and kids. It was even part of his figure collection. Relevance. Though it was quickly dismissed by Vince, it was brought back stronger than ever by its fandom. You know, when Vince would actually listen to his fans. And is a major mark for wrestling history, painting the way for customization, as the belts are now being made to represent the character and not the company. 100 out of 100! Prestige. It was defended 3 times against 3 legends and was the centerpiece for several of the storylines. It was held by one of the best wrestlers of all time, and so 100 out of 100. Design. This belt was the embodiment of the Attitude Era and is exactly how you'd imagine a custom belt to be when thinking about the Hellraiser. From the symbolic skull to the rattlesnakes on the side plate, this belt embodied Steve Austin, but its new metal design isn't exactly timeless. 80 out of 100. Impact. The impact of the belt was like no other. It even surprised Vince McMahon. Just when you think he hit peak popularity, he took the stardom to the next level. After its run, the belt never came back to TV. Though we saw more of Austin, the belt itself never came back, and so 80 out of 100. My rating. This title is a perfect example of how custom championship belts should get made, using Austin's famous symbols and a relevant storyline to go with it. 90 out of 100. You can't talk about Stone Cold without the mention of The Rock. And that's exactly the story of the Brahma Bull belt. It was the Great One's answer to the Texas Rattlesnake. Or it was supposed to be, as it never actually aired on WWE TV. And most fans only know about the belt through playing the games. There are multiple rumours to why this belt never appeared on live TV. The Rock stated that he wore it for a hot minute, but decided to take it off as it didn't feel original, as Stone Cold had the Smoking Skulls belt. It now sits in WWE's Access. A replica of the belt has been made this year, but before that, we only had kids' toy versions, along with the Rattlesnake belt and the Phenom belt? I don't remember that being a thing. Imagine if The Undertaker just started wearing that belt. Speaking of toys, I couldn't find any toy with The Rock and his belt together. So let's go on to the ratings. Relevance. Though the belt was made famous by the games, it never actually appeared on WWE TV, so its relevance isn't that significant. But along with Stone Cold's Broken Skull's belt, this belt has appeared on every WWE game as an unlockable feature. 25 out of 100. Even though he held it for a hot second, it gave him that next level of stardom and possibly had the greatest rivalry of all time. The two need to be on equal pedestals, and that's exactly what the belt did. The People's Champ needs to have his own champ's belt, but the Great One never once defended it, and so sadly I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 100. Design. Though the belt itself kinda looks like one of those huge belt buckles that he used to wear, the design is the jabroni beating, pie eating, trail blazing, eyebrow raising symbolic symbol you associate with the Great One. Using the classic Brahma Bull logo on the centerpiece and the symbols reading, "The Symbols of Greatness." 70 out of 100. Impact. This belt didn't do anything for the Great One's career, but it gave the fans an extra layer of depth to the character, especially in the games franchise. 35 out of 100. My rating. Who doesn't get a sense of nostalgia when looking at this belt? I would have loved it if The Rock came down with his belt, flinging it over his shoulder, but he didn't. The games give me that satisfaction, and so 35 out of 100. John Cena's spinner belt. Spinner belt. Cena won the belt from JBL at WrestleMania 21, but decided to put his own spin on it. You get it? I'm sorry. He debuted the belt on SmackDown on the 14th of April 2005, and it matched his character brilliantly.
Open your eyes to take a look at the new WWE Championship.
However, Cena lost the belt to Edge on the 8th of January 2006, making him champ for just under a year. But that wasn't the last time you heard of old Spinneroonie. Belts revert back to their original design once it's been dropped by the wrestler. Or so we'd expect. Not this belt. This belt had many more years to come. Yeah, it's cool having a belt that spins, but because of its commercial success, they decided to keep this belt. It went far past its hype, to the point where it was no longer funny. None of the wrestlers even suited wearing it anymore. From what was a great enjoyable moment to something that fans can no longer stand looking at. WWE know how to keep us hooked in. When Cena had the belt, it wasn't so bad, as it was a perfect addition to his persona.
Never quite seen a champion like John Cena now, have we?
But as it moved from superstar to superstar, it started looking naff, as the wrestlers just looked really silly having a big bling bling belt on.
Bling bling!
Relevance. The spinner belt was a massive part of WWE history, as it was their main title for the span across 8 years. Hate it or love it, it's relevant, and it will forever feature on wrestling games from its debut till our deaths. And don't even get me started on figurines or replicas. There's nothing I could do. 100 out of 100! Prestige. The belt lasted for 8 years and was held by the likes of Edge, RVD, Randy Orton, Triple H, Jeff Hardy, Batista, Sheamus, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, Alberto Del Rio, CM Punk, and The Rock. Even if we just look at Cena's reign, he won the belt 10 times in its lifespan. I'm so sorry. 100 out of 100. Design. I'm kinda torn with the rating on this one. On one hand, it was made for Cena, but on the other, a bunch of other wrestlers held it. I'm gonna go with Cena. With the spinner design and all the bling added to it, it perfectly represented Cena in all of his thugonomic glory. 80 out of 100. Impact. The belt was like nothing we've ever seen before. It spun. The thing spun.
Look at that cut. Oh, it's a spinner deal. Oh, man.
It grabbed the eyes of everyone, as we all knew that Cena was going to be top dog for a long time. Top dog until the big dog showed up! It was the first belt to have the WWE logo, making it the starting point to set the standard for upcoming titles, as people will be able to recognise the belt from a mile away, knowing that it was a WWE belt. 100 out of 100. My own rating. Though the title outlived its lifespan, you can't deny that it was a unique take on the championship. Hate it or love it, it was different from the rest and unique to Cena. 85 out of 100. When Edge defeated the man with the 3 most dangerous letters in
Sports entertainment.
he would then go on to feud Big Boy John Cena, which is never a good thing if you want to have the title for long. After claiming the belt reminded him too much of Big John Cena, I mean it was made for him after all, he then got Lita to throw the belt in a river.
Wait a minute, what? Oh my God! Oh.
And on that night he revealed his own custom belt. The Rated R belt was just a rendition of the spinner belt, but where the WWE logo was, they just replaced it with a giant R. You could say it should be looking a lot edgier. Sadly though, his reign was short, as he would go on to lose the belt and his stickers to John Cena at 2006 Unforgiven.
Yes, Cena won!
Holding the title for just over 6 months. The feud between Edge and Cena was fantastic, and though not many people like the belt, it's still more than relevant in the WWE universe. It has appeared on numerous 2K games, from 2K13 to 2K17, with both 16 and 17 being last gen DLC added to the game, and also even has his own figure included with the belt. 70 out of 100. Edge created a custom belt on top of a custom belt. That to me is great heel work. What a way to get under your opponent's skin, especially throwing it into a lake. I'm surprised no one's ever thought about that before. Though when Edge won the title again, he didn't revert back to his old design. Looks like John got the last laugh. 40 out of 100. Design. I feel bad for Edge, I really do. I know if he had any sort of creative control, the belt would have looked completely different. But sadly, he lives in Vince McMahon's world, like we all do. It looks like a child has designed it on WWE 2K. Actually, no, I'm sorry. A child would completely design that better. That was offensive to children. It's not unique to Edge at all. It's just got a sticker on it. 35 out of 100. Impact. When Edge got Lita to throw the belt over the bridge, it gave him that next level heat that he needed. Though it was a repeated idea, it was done well enough to feel fresh, and it made Edge look like a brilliant heel. 60 out of 100. My rating. I don't know why they bothered to give Edge a custom title when it looked like that. It didn't match his personality at all and just made him look stupid. I'm gonna throw away this belt because it reminds me too much of John Cena, but I'm gonna get this new belt that's the exact same, but I'm gonna slap a giant R on it. On this day, I see clearly. 35 out of 100. Does this even count? Do we actually have to do it? It's just the spinner belt, but the W being stuck upside down. But according to WWE law, this is a custom title, so we have to do it. The A-lister won the Heavyweight Championship on the 22nd of November 2010. No thanks to The Rock, obviously. Revealing his custom title, if you can call it that, on the 21st of March 2011. He would then go on to lose his title to Cena on the 1st of May 2011. Who would then go on to face The Rock? Quite mysterious, wouldn't you say? These puns, man, people need to pay me for these puns. Like Edge's, this custom design was revealed on WWE TV.
What a wonderful championship.
And was also held for 6 months. But unlike Edge's reign, where it was actually set up between him and Cena, The Miz was just a stepping stone for The Rock and Cena for Mania. So was it really his? or was it just given to him? This title is even less relevant than the Rated R. So basically it's awful. The belt was featured on the 2K games the same as the Rated R, though he didn't really have a figure based on him. Though he had the championship belt, it wasn't flipped upside down, it just looked like the regular spinner belt. 50 out of 100. Prestige. The Miz has a gift. Whatever he touches turns into gold. It's just a shame he couldn't do that with this reign. 25 out of 100. Though it's a classic gimmick to turn the W's into M's for the Miz.
This iconic WWE logo, I have flipped it upside down in the form of an M, and that M stands for Miz.
See, if it was me that was doing it, I'd rather have the red line from the top on the WWE belt flipped over and have the red line there at the bottom. And it's a less silly version of the spinner belt because it looks like it was made for him. You can tell how hard he worked for this because it does count as a custom title for the Miz, so I have to give him props. 35 out of 100. Impact. It wasn't very impactful as it was overshadowed by a huge boulder. The Miz made the most of a short reign by turning those W's into M's. And these small changes are what makes the Miz awesome. 25 out of 100. My rating. However, in typical Miz fashion, he made the most of his reign and performed some great heel work. You can tell how hard he worked for it because the belt does count as a custom title towards the Miz. I mean, he did become the most seen WWE champion in history, whatever that means. 35 out of 100. On the 13th of November 2018, Daniel Bryan would face AJ Styles for the World Heavyweight Championship. Daniel Bryan performed vigorous training methods to defeat this filthy carnivore, watching many Shinsuke vs AJ matches.
Oh, the official!
Daniel Bryan knew that AJ Styles had one weakness to his armour, but for Daniel Bryan to strike that, he must become a meat eater once more, and so delivered a low blow right to the meat of AJ Styles, where he cemented himself as the new WWE champion.
Contact in the official. Oh, wait a minute! Daniel Bryan with a low blow.
Bryan knew his ways were wrong. He was insulted by the belt that he currently held, as it was made from a skinned cow, which he called Daisy.
I am going to take this leather strap that was made from a skinned cow that I like to name Daisy.
And that he was going to replace the belt with something more sustainable, something better. And the man delivered. On the 29th of January 2019, threw Daisy in the bin. R.I.P. Daisy. He announced his custom-made, eco-friendly belt, and he announced himself the champion of cows.
I'm the champion for the cows!
No. Well, yeah, he became the new Daniel Bryan. Not just the champion of cows, but the planet's champion.
And I'm the planet's champion!
Revealing his symbol of excellence to the fans.
This is your new WWE Championship!
Made entirely out of sustainable resources. Bryan reigned champion for 145 days before losing it to Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania 35. Relevance. Bryan was way ahead of his time. Creating a belt from sustainable material might sound like a common thing to do, but for the WWE this is very different and new. The belt wasn't the main focal point of the feud, but it did help Bryan get a lot of heat. It was also included in 2K20. But even that couldn't help it from being a disaster. Comeback THQ, 75 out of 100. Bryan had this belt for one main feud, and although it was very short-lived, it was still fantastic. It didn't stick around long enough to have a storyline written about it, apart from the actions of Daniel Bryan and he himself making the belt relevant. 70 out of 100. Made from 100% sustainable organic hemp and carved from a fallen oak tree. Who would I be to give it less than what it deserves? Using the already made design of the WWE title belt and making it eco-friendly is just fantastic. Not just the side plates, but the leather strap and all. The only issue I've got is the fact that there isn't enough Daniel Bryan-esque on it, as I can see this belt getting worn by future vegan champions. A bit more uniqueness would be nice. 90 out of 100. Impact. Not only did this belt give Daniel Bryan so much heat, it also gave WWE so much media attention, with media companies talking about the vegan belt. The belt done wonders for the WWE, but personally I feel like it fell short. I wish we'd seen a bit more of the belt before its end, because I honestly feel like Bryan had a lot more tricks up his sleeve. 80 out of 100. My rating. This is one of the most unique belts in WWE, and I'm honestly surprised that they haven't done this before. It's such a simple idea, but yet effective, especially done by Bryan. Though it didn't get the storyline it deserved, it still stands out from the rest. It's sad that he doesn't get his own figure, but I'm sure that'll change in a future Comic Con. 85 out of 100. On the 31st of October 2019, at the Crown Jewel event, Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt went on to defeat Seth Rollins for the Universal title, shortly after turning the Universal Championship blue.
Alakazam, Malakazam, your parents are liars, so just let me in!
Bray has now unveiled a haunting rendition of the Universal Championship for his character, The Fiend. Wyatt appeared on Friday Night SmackDown on the 29th of November 2019 on a classic episode of Firefly Funhouse where he unveiled the championship.
But you know, sharing is caring.
Sadly, as big as The Fiend was, Vince's dream for Roman to be top dog was bigger and harder, as Bray would lose to Goldberg on 2020's Super Showdown to set up his feud with the big dog for Mania. This was a big shock to the wrestling world, as we all thought the Fiend was going to be at the top for a while, but sadly he only reigned champion for 4 months. Relevance. Though he's no longer champ, the Fiend might as well be the WWE store. It's just sad we won't be seeing him on 2K21. 80 out of 100. Prestige. Though the Fiend took out many legends on his way up to defeat Seth Rollins, he only defended it against Daniel Bryan before losing it to Goldberg. I do hope when he becomes champ again, he does bring that belt with him. 65 out of 100. Design. This is the first belt I've ever seen of its kind. Having a separate ego to have a different belt is just top creativity. Though I feel personally that the belt lacks design, as it looks more of a prop than a championship belt. 40 out of 100. Bray unveiled the belt on the Firefly Funhouse segment, having the most unique customized belt of all time. It perfectly embodies his character, and it's the first time they've ever had 2 separate belts for the same person. 70 out of 100. My rating. I wish his reign went on for a bit longer, or even if he lost to Goldberg as Sweater Bray. But as always, WWE know best, and that's why Braun versus Goldberg was the biggest match of the night. It's just a shame because this guy has put so much attention to detail into his character, and his belt represented that, and he didn't even give him the time of day. Why do I watch you, WWE? 60 out of 100. So that's the video, guys. If you'd like to see us do any more of these top trumps, make sure that this video gets enough likes. If you could like, share and subscribe, that'll be nice of you. Peace!